I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Board of Embalmers and Funeral Directors. It's October 19th, 2015, 1:02 in the afternoon. Roll call.
Greg Boyer,
Here.
Robert Wasco,
Here.
Jack Marchbanks,
Present.
Brian Chandler,
Present.
Tommy Tanner.
Here.
Item 2.01, consideration of the minutes. Anybody had time to review the minutes? Any changes to the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Wasco,
Yes.
Mr. Chandler,
Yes.
Mr. Marchbanks,
Yes.
Mr. Tanner,
No.
Mr. Boyer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 3.01, we have persons before the board. We have a Bob Grinison, is that correct?
Yes.
If you'd like to step up before us and tell us why you're here today, you
And
can have a seat right there.
sorry for the awkward positioning of the seats, but it's just so that camera can catch you and
No
and
problem.
pick up your recording as well.
The reason I am here, I am a funeral director in Ohio for 25 years. And over the years, we've had a lot of issues of Pennsylvania, West Virginia funeral homes coming into Ohio, picking up a deceased body, taking it back across the state line, and not having a permit. Now, I realize this is not an issue that falls before the Board of Embalmers, it's more of a health department issue. But they are calling back on the Ohio firms to aid them in getting the permit by having them file for the paperwork and get the permit for them and fax it or mail it over to them. I am trying to figure out a way to prevent this. I'm also a sub-registrar. In our position, they pay us the large amount of money of 50 cents to issue the permits at night, weekends, and holidays for when the health department is not open for them to get a permit. That's why they have us there. I have been doing it almost ever since I've been licensed. They don't usually do that. They take it across the line. And there's been cases where we've had bodies taken out. Maybe a day or two later, they take the death certificate to the doctor. The doctor will indicate that the person fell, had an injury. It would then become a coroner's case. Well, the coroner cannot go back and get that body. Coroner's not going to be able to sign on that permit because it's out of their jurisdiction. It's already been removed from state. Now also, the Department of Health, and I don't know if they are here or not, but I do know that they have allowed Pennsylvania and West Virginia, and I'm sure Indiana and Michigan too, allow them access into the EDRS system to where they can put in the death certificate and print it out. This is what the one firm that really brought it to head is out of West Virginia. This is what they do. And I had a body at my place I was hanging on to for them to come get. And I told him, if you get me the paperwork, I'll get you the permit. He said, forget it. He said, I don't care if you're a sub-registrar or not. That has no bearing. The only difference between me and you is the Ohio River. I will come and get the body. I'll file the permit, and I'll do as I blankly please. And that was it. And he came, and that's exactly what he did. Health department, they saw the death certificate come up in their system, they issued the permit, and it was finished. Nobody asked any questions. The health department doesn't, the girls that work there, they don't know to ask. They don't know necessarily the rules of where the body has to be or not be. A solution that I would like to suggest is to have the health department eliminate the out-of-state firms' access to EDRS. Number two, let the Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Indiana, and Michigan firms know they cannot take a body out of the state without a permit. Get an Ohio firm to help them to get the body taken care of and held or embalmed. Use a shipping service, use whatever means you need to do. We used to work with Edmonds out of Cleveland. There was a bunch of PA firms that would call up to Edmonds. We'd go get the body and hold it or embalm it, get the paperwork, they would come over and pick up the body. I do that a lot of times now. We have a cooler, I'll put the body in my cooler. I might charge them $15, $20 to do the paperwork for them. They come over and pick it up and go on. I don't have a problem doing that. And I'm trying to help to avoid this problem from happening. Because we are having a problem of bodies being turned back to the corner. After the doctors are said they will sign them, then later say, no, we can't, or there's a problem, the body's going, how do you get a permit? You can't. I'm trying to come up with a way to solve the problem. And I know this is not a board issue, but I feel that between the board, the health department, need to get together and work together to solve the problem. That's why I'm here.
Just for the record, there is a representative here from the Department of Health. I don't want to put her on the spot unless she has something specifically to say, but she is here and has heard all that you have to offer. I'm sure we'll work with you and the board to try to address your concerns. Did you want to say anything now?
Sure. First, I'll say hi to Bob.
Hello.
Bob, I'm
Hello.
Kevin Criddle.
Yes.
Nice
Yes.
to meet you. I'm the help desk manager at Ohio Department of Health. I haven't been to a board meeting before, so let me know however I can help. If it's answering questions in front of the whole board or responding to a very specific suggestion, whatever I can do. But I will clarify that EDRS access can certainly still remain open to other states. We base it on licensure. So if the Ohio license is on file in good standing and active standing with the Board of Embalmers, we let them continue to have access to EDRS. We do the same check for Pennsylvania, Kentucky, any other state. If anyone applies, we check that their license is active and then we give them access. If that helps anyone understand.
Mr. Chairman, if I could interrupt, there's a group of people out here that I think would like to attend this meeting. We will get it.
Got a few more chairs left in here. Did you look at this one there? I know this door's locked here.
Are there more folks?
So as far as removal from state, if there's any other information I can provide from Department of Health, I'm happy to help work with Bob directly with the board, take back any information for our state registrar to respond to whatever is needed. I'm happy to help.
Thank you. And then most time our firm, we always contact the funeral home in West Virginia, or we contact the funeral home in Kentucky just so they can help us out with the paperwork. And then normally funeral homes call us and then we help out with everything too. So it usually works out better if you do go through a firm that's licensed in the state.
But there's a lot of them up our way, they're not doing that, they're calling delivery service
Right.
to go get it, take it across the state line, or if they go get it, then call delivery service within 24 hours, they say, and get the paperwork done. And that can present to be some problems.
Right.
So, the law is the law, it is a state board question. We all have to answer that question on the board. Are we permitted to take a body across the state line without a permit? That's no.
Great, and that's what I told Bob. He, as any funeral director can, always call the help desk and talk to my staff or talk to me. Like I told him, absolutely not okay. You can't ask permission to do something after you've done it. That just doesn't make sense in very simple terms. So 2 or 3 of the health departments that were involved, I called and spoke with those local registrars that day after talking with Bob and reminded them it's always okay to real quickly pick up the phone and call the nursing home and say, hey, is that body still there or did it already go to Kentucky maybe? It's still there? Okay, I'm gonna approve this permit. Oh no, they already came at 2 o'clock this morning and it's now 10. No, I'm not gonna approve that permit because chances are it's already left. So I did do that after speaking with Bob and again, happy to help in any other way I can.
Now, when filling out that death certificate for the permit, some people do removal from state, and some funeral homes, they actually put the name of the cemetery and try to get a permit for that cemetery and get the information about the cemetery. What's the difference between that and removal from state?
So our state registrar has clarified that first disposition that happens is final disposition for Ohio. So if you remove from state and then bury, remove from state, cremate, whatever, removal from state is first disposition, so that's our final disposition. We're working to, before this even came up, change our permit so that it actually has check boxes and you can check all that applies. So if you remove from state and cremate, if you like.
So we
that's
should be
coming.
using removal from state then,
Removal
on
from
all death
state,
certificates
yep.
going out of state?
State registrar.
Even
yep.
if you know the name of the cemetery and know when the date of disposition is going to take place?
Yep.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments or any questions?
I have some technical difficulty.
You're me upstairs too.
I'll just go with paper copy then. So that's good.
Any more questions or concerns?
That's all I have to say.
Okay, I appreciate it. Hopefully Devin can help out with everything. Thanks, Bob.
Yep.
And we have another person before the board, 3.02, Joseph Bailiff, for initial registration of apprenticeship. If you come up here, explain a little bit about yourself and what you're
Yes.
here today for.
My name is Joseph Bailiff. I kind of have a background. I went to school at Bowling Green State University, received my bachelor's in architectural and environmental design. From there, I worked for the same firm for about 10 years. And then after getting married in May of 2014, my wife had twins before we got married. But one of the boys, who are now 4, has mild CP. So I made the decision to kind of get away from my full-time job that I had at an architecture firm to stay at home, help with the kids a little bit, give him some of the attention that he needs. And with my wife being in the funeral home business as well as her father, I spoke with her father, and he felt strongly with the amount of family involved in their funeral home business that it would be best for me to maybe look into the field. She's the only female in the family, so I've taken an interest in the funeral home business, learned a lot in the short period of time that I've been exposed to it. So it's kind of a balance of both. Kind of a personal interest. I'm one that likes to try new things, and then when I get into them, learn as much as I can about it. That reflects in the architectural field a lot. You got to stay on top of current materials, current methods, things like that. So it's a challenge, kind of like architecture. I know that the two fields are kind of far apart, kind of what the end goal is, but that's kind of the background of where I came from. And then in terms of like the issue, like how do you want me to address that? And I know that one of the things that popped up was one of the things on my record. I mean, is that, do you pose a question to me, or do you just want me to kind of explain?
I think that's been, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Anybody have any questions for Joseph?
Can you briefly just explain that situation?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to make a long story short, it was obviously being what I would say at the wrong place, wrong time. I was at a bar with a group of friends, and there were another couple that were beside us, and we witnessed this guy basically throw his wife down on the ground, and not the right thing to do, but when you're in that moment as a guy, you kind of perk up and say, somebody needs to do something about this. And one thing led to another. He and the husband that threw her down got pretty banged up between my buddies and I, and when it all rolled out in the court, they played the card that they were victims, the whole family. She kind of turned the page and said that he didn't do anything, so on and so forth. And it was, more than anything, it taught me a life lesson. Growing up, obviously going through high school and college, sometimes you reflect and you say, You know, sometimes you get away with things that you did in your childhood that you probably should have got in trouble for, but sometimes you learn in life for the things you least expect to get in trouble for. So obviously it was a huge eye-opener for me. It caused probably 2 years of in and out of the courtroom, going through the trial for that. It was expensive and a big headache. And then to shed some light on it, even after the criminal case, he is the victim, supposedly, tried to pursue civil charges for money. And immediately when my attorney and I filed a countersuit, he dropped it. We signed a paper that basically said if we wouldn't ever bring any further charges, he would. And I know, to me, that means a lot. That says a lot. There was obviously more going on than what they tried to portray at the beginning. So that's basically the situation.
Any more questions?
What's the name of the firm that you're associated with?
Cauldron Crates Funeral Home.
Any other questions?
So the motion would would require affirmative vote on allowing him to sit for or apply for apprenticeship?
Mhm.
Okay. I make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Roll call?
Robert Wesco?
Yes.
Tommy Tana?
Yes.
Greg Boyer?
Yes.
Brian Chandler?
Yes.
And Jack Marchbanks?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And persons before the board.
You're welcome to stay, or Mr. Chairman, I suppose.
I was gonna go through
free
all
up
three
the
and then let
chairs.
them all go. That's fine. Or if you'd like to leave now, you're more than welcome. You don't have to stay, so. And we have Ronald Garr, person before the board, application for initial registration of apprenticeship. If you'd like to step forward, give us a little information about yourself.
I don't believe Mr. Carr is here.
Mr. Garr's not present. Okay. Now we're going to move 3.04, persons before the board. Kara Hanneman. If you could step up before us and tell us a little bit about yourself and what
Sure.
you're here today for.
Okay. Well, my name's Kara Hanneman. A little bit about me. I studied philosophy, Chinese, and Arabic. So I've been doing that for quite a while. And now I'm kind of back home and I want to get into family business.
And where's your family business at?
In Bowling Green, Ohio.
Bowling Green, okay. Then the funeral service business?
Yes.
Okay.
Since 1912.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Kara?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
you said a desire to go back to your family business. Is there anything beyond that prompted you to have this career change?
I do find it interesting, although I feel like I would be doing the full, because I would be getting an Embalmers license. But I do find it interesting, like late night calls and pickups, like I'm excited about it. I probably won't be in after a while, but.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Are you, Mr. Chairman, can you address some of the
Charges?
criminal charges, criminal history?
Sure. So the first one that I had this year was back in February, and I had just moved from Washington D.C. back to Bowling Green, Ohio, and I haven't lived there for about 10 years. Just some personal things going on. Just personal things, like moving's a big stressor. And I think that contributed to a lot of this stuff.
Okay, because it shows that there's a hearing pending.
Oh, actually, no, it's all finished at this point. It was finished on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, do you have the documentation for that?
Trying to think if I have anything on my phone. I'm not sure if I have it on me right now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So what I would suggest is to get some of that documentation to our office, verifying that this case has been settled or whatever the outcome was,
Sure.
and then reapply.
Oh, reapply.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would probably be the best thing, because this way, this part of your application can already be looked at and approved, and that would probably make more sense to do that.
Okay.
I would recommend that it not be phrased as a reapplication because you haven't taken any kind of step. Right now, on her first application, it would just be supplemental information on this application.
Okay, fine. So what that means is just provide our office with those type of documents.
Documentation,
Yeah.
sure. Should I fax?
Sure.
Or- Okay,
Fax or email.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, one question.
Yes.
Can you just briefly tell us a little bit about the possession of drugs?
Oh, that was quite some time ago.
It's in November 2012.
Yeah, there was a minuscule amount that,
Okay.
and that's what they called it.
At this point, if the board doesn't want to take any action, you can just be done with this item. You don't have to take an action.
Correct, you can table.
Okay. So we'll table this for now until you get the other documentation to us from the.
You want a motion to table? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that'd probably be a good idea.
I make a motion.
All right.
And I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call?
I had Mr. Marchbanks with Mr. Wasco a second.
Yes.
Mr. Marchbanks?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco?
Yes.
Mr. Tanner?
Yes.
Mr. Chandler?
Yes.
Mr. Boyer?
Yes.
Motion to table passes.
Thank you for coming in today. If you'd like to leave. you're
Oh,
more
I'm
than
sorry.
welcome. No,
I
you're fine. No, you're okay, Kara. Joseph, if you want to go, you can.
I
get
actually
up
just
there.
had one more question.
Okay.
Do I need to come back again, or like for a meeting, or?
Okay, well, we just need to get all the documentation in
First.
and your application is in, and is there anything else you need to do, Christine?
It would be the board's decision. I mean, you'll have to discuss your decision again, but it would be up to you whether you want to have her come back.
But I'm assuming whether she comes back or not, if it's on the agenda, then that could entertain a motion from one of us to approve.
Okay.
Am I correct?
I just know there's 5 years, there's some things on here too, and I know after 5 years, when 5 years go by and you don't have anything on your record, that can help out.
But it's
Quite a
tabled,
bit.
so someone can bring it bring it back from the table.
No, I understand it has to come back to the table, but the question is, does she have to come back from Bowling Green?
Yes.
I'm not sure we know that yet until we would see the documents. If they're self-explanatory, then maybe not.
Okay, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
And we have item 3.05, persons before the board, and Queen D. Watkins, application for initial registration of apprenticeship. You come before the board and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here today.
Hello, everyone. Excuse me if I get emotional. I have not. I'm sorry. I haven't had to talk about this in over 14 years. And when I talked about it to my mother, a lot of feelings came back a lot of things I tried to forget came back, and I tried to forget about it, and it wasn't until I had to come to this point that I had to relive a lot of things that I tried to forget about. And I do apologize. I did not expect to get emotional.
Did you need some more time?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm sorry.
No, you're all right.
To try to keep it brief, 98 is when it all started. As you all may see my background in front of you. I had an addiction to crack cocaine and marijuana. And pretty much that's where it started. And it wasn't until 2000 when I got pregnant with my daughter is when I decided I would never let her see the things I went through. I would never let her see that part of me. And I wanted nothing to do with who I used to be. So I began to, in 99, I obtained my cosmetology license. I took a cosmetology in high school, got my license. And then when my daughter was a few months, I went to Remington College, medical assistant, while still trying to figure out who I wanted to be. After obtaining a diploma in medical assistant, I was doing hair. And in 2006, I started doing hair and makeup on the deceased. And then my dad mentioned, he said, I think you'll be really good working and going all the way with the business. And I said, oh, I hear so many stories. They sit up and pass gas. I don't know if I really want to do that. But then I met a young lady at the gym who was a secretary at a funeral home in Cleveland. That's where I'm from. And she mentioned it to me, so I was like, oh, maybe that's confirmation from God that maybe I should do this. So I told her I wanted to try it. So she finally called me one day. She said, you want to do a body? And I was like, my heart was beating fast, but it was like, either, go or stay. So I tried it. And when I tried it, I fell in love with it. I was so at peace, didn't hear any, negativity, no drama, no anything. So I said, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. So then I started going to school. I called CCMS in Cincinnati, and the lady there said, well, you have to get an associate's degree first. So I went to Indiana Western, got my associate's degree, and then when I came down there, she said, well, they mentioned the felony thing. So I just said, darn, Lord, I think this is what I really want to do. I figured out this is what I really want to do, and I said, because of what she said, do I not do it? And so he said, just go ahead, just go. I went down, I was at the time going through we weren't going through a divorce at the time. I had gotten married in 2012, and then we started to have problems, and I said, look, I know what my future is, I know what I want to do, and I said, either you're going to go to counseling, or I'm going to take the kids and I'm going to go to Cincinnati, because this is, regardless of me, if you don't work out, I have to do something for my kids. So I went to Cincinnati, moved, and I've been sober over 15 years. And I'm proud of myself regardless. I'm proud of myself. And I have 2 honor students. My daughter goes to the top high school in Ohio, Walnut Hills. She came from Cleveland, where we don't have that opportunity. She came down here and got in the top school. Very proud of her. And my son is also an honor student. My daughter's 14 and my son is 8. So regardless, I think I'm showing my kids, finish what you start. Your past is not who you are today. And I'm going to continue to be my best.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
Regarding the theft charge, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Again, I was doing some things to support my habits. The guy I was with that kind of got me introduced to it at 17 told me you don't have to work or anything like that. When he went to jail, I continued to use drugs, and I started stripping. That's where the pendulum charge came in. I started stripping, and then my dad was like, please, stop this, and this. But then I got introduced to a guy while I was stripping that was telling me about some bank thing where you put blank checks in an account and you withdraw. I don't even remember the ins and outs of it.
About how much were we talking about on the theft charge?
Maybe 3,000.
Was restitution made?
Yes, I had to make an agreement to pay.
And did you pay that back in full?
I did not pay it back in full. I served,
No, I mean, the payment, did you make restitution? Did you pay back the money that was stolen?
no.
Why?
No, not all of it.
How much of it?
I don't even remember exactly what the amount was ordered for me to pay back. But no, I know I didn't pay all of it back. And I haven't, it's been so many years that I haven't gotten anything about it, like, oh, you have to pay this, you have to pay that. And it was like, the case was closed, so I just haven't paid anything else on that. I've been on probation for, I don't even know, over 13 years, so I haven't heard anything else about it. Everything's closed.
Any more questions?
I guess I have one. Have you arranged for an apprenticeship already?
Yes, sir.
So you have a firm to,
Yes,
that
sir.
you would go to?
Walker, funeral home, Cincinnati.
Based on the, Mr. Chairman, based on comments that she's provided and a little bit about the charges, I would feel comfortable that enough time has passed, and I'd make a motion to approve, motion to allow her to start correction.
Do we have a second? I seconded.
One more comment. I'd like to see you make restitution. Okay. I'm going to vote in favor of you, but I'd like to see you make restitution.
Any more
That's in the
discussion?
number, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
That's in the, I have to get it arranged because it is in Cleveland, moved here, it's been so many years ago, but I have no problem finding out exactly what I have left on.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I agree with Mr. Tanev, but I also see that such time has passed, everyone in America believes in second chances. We're talking about 14 years. It seems like she has redirected her life in a very positive way, so I would be voting in favor also. Thank you.
Roll call?
Mr. Wesco?
Yes.
Mr. Boyer?
Yes.
Mr. Marchbanks?
Yes.
Mr. Tanner?
Yes.
And Mr. Chandler?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Make us proud.
You can just send it to the main office. Send it to Miss Linda. And we'll- Mhm.
Congratulations. You're free to stay or you're free to go.
May I ask, how does it work? I have to wait until I get a paper showing the funeral home?
You know what? I'll tell you what, if you step over here and Mrs. Clark can help you with those questions.
Thank you all so much.
Congratulations.